Why do we feel fear? Fear, the very word, conjures images of darkness, danger, and dread. But why do we feel fear? What purpose does this primal emotion serve in our lives? Is it merely a survival mechanism, or does it hold a deeper meaning? In this exploration, we will dive into the origins of fear, the ways it shapes our actions and decisions, and perhaps most intriguingly, why we are drawn to it even when it terrifies us. The ancient roots of fear. Survival at its core. At its most fundamental level, fear is a survival instinct. From the earliest days of human existence, fear has been a protective force, guiding our ancestors away from danger and towards safety. Imagine standing on the savannah tens of thousands of years ago, hearing the distant growl of a predator in the dark. In such a moment, fear sharpens the senses, quickens the pulse, and triggers a flood of adrenaline. It forces immediate action, fight or flight, and in doing so, it keeps us alive. But fear is more than just an emotional response. It is woven into the fabric of our biology, deeply embedded in our brains. The amygdala, an almond-shaped cluster of neurons, plays a crucial role in processing fear. When we perceive danger, whether physical or psychological, the amygdala activates, sending signals throughout the brain and body that prepare us to respond. It is this very system that has allowed humanity to survive for millennia in a world filled with threats. However, the threats we face today are often very different from those our ancestors encountered. We no longer have to fend off wild animals or navigate through hostile environments to survive. And yet, fear remains deeply ingrained in us. Why? Because fear, as we will soon discover, is not just about survival. It touches on something much more complex: our understanding of the unknown, the uncontrollable, and the uncertain. The fear of the unknown, a step into darkness. One of the most profound aspects of fear is its relationship with the unknown. Humans are creatures of understanding. We seek patterns, explanations, and clarity in all aspects of life. But when we encounter something that defies our comprehension, something that lurks in the shadows of our knowledge, fear naturally follows. Take, for example, the common fear of the dark. As children, many of us were afraid of what might be hiding in our closets or under the bed. It wasn't the darkness itself that frightened us, but rather the absence of what we could see. The unknown possibilities of what might exist in the void of darkness trigger our imagination to conjure all manner of terrifying possibilities. This fear of the unknown extends beyond childhood into adulthood as we continue to grapple with uncertainties in life. The unpredictability of the future, the mystery of death, or the possibility of failure. Philosophically, the fear of the unknown speaks to a deeper human concern, our desire for control. To feel fear in the face of uncertainty is to acknowledge that we are not always in control of our fate, and this can be terrifying. But it is also a reminder of the limits of human knowledge, of the vast mysteries that still lie beyond our grasp. Fear, in this sense, humbles us. It reminds us that we are but small figures in a vast, unpredictable universe. The social dimension of fear, fear of rejection, judgment, and isolation. While fear is often thought of as a response to physical danger, it is equally powerful in social contexts. Humans are inherently social beings, and much of our fear arises not from external threats, but from our relationships with others. The fear of rejection, of being judged, or of being isolated from the group can be just as potent as the fear of physical harm. This kind of fear is deeply tied to our need for belonging. From an evolutionary perspective, being part of a group offered protection, resources, and companionship. To be cast out from the group was, in many cases, a death sentence. Even though modern society no longer operates by such rigid survival standards, the fear of social exclusion lingers in our psychology. Consider the fear of public speaking. For many, the idea of standing before an audience and exposing oneself to scrutiny is terrifying. The heart races, the voice trembles, and the mind fills with the fear of saying something wrong, of being ridiculed, or of not being accepted. This fear of judgment taps into a primal anxiety about losing social standing or being ostracized. It is not the act of speaking itself that is feared, but the possibility of social rejection. In this way, fear serves as both a guide and a barrier in our social lives. It warns us of the potential risks of social missteps, but it can also prevent us from taking risks that might lead to growth, connection, and achievement. Understanding the social dimension of fear allows us to see how intertwined it is with our sense of identity and belonging. The attraction to fear. Why do we seek it out? Here lies one of the most paradoxical aspects of fear. While it is an emotion that causes discomfort and distress, we often seek it out. Horror movies, haunted houses, roller coasters, these are all experiences designed to evoke fear, and yet millions of people actively participate in them. Why? Part of the answer lies in the thrill of fear. When we feel fear in a controlled environment, such as watching a scary movie, we experience the rush of adrenaline and heightened awareness that comes with danger, but without the real-world consequences. It allows us to flirt with the edge of fear without being consumed by it. This gives us a feeling of exhilaration, a reminder of our capacity to survive, even if the threat is imagined. There is also a psychological aspect to our attraction to fear. Fear forces us to confront our vulnerabilities and anxieties. When we face fear and come out the other side unscathed, we feel a sense of triumph and empowerment. This is why fear-based experiences can sometimes feel cathartic. They allow us to confront what scares us in a way that is safe, controlled, and even enjoyable. Fear as a teacher. The lessons of vulnerability. Philosophers throughout history have pondered the role of fear in human life. While many see fear as something to be overcome, there is also a view that fear is a necessary and valuable part of the human experience. Fear reveals to us our vulnerabilities, our limitations, and our deepest desires. In facing our fears, we learn not only about the world around us, but also about ourselves. For example, the fear of failure teaches us about our ambition and our attachment to success. The fear of death forces us to confront the finite nature of life, pushing us to seek meaning and purpose. In this way, fear can serve as a guide, pointing us toward what we value most and helping us understand what it means to live a full and authentic life. The philosopher Søren Kierkegaard once wrote about the dizziness of freedom, the fear that arises when we are faced with the infinite possibilities of choice and action. This existential fear, he argued, is not something to be avoided but embraced. It is through this confrontation with fear that we come to understand the true nature of our freedom, our responsibility, and our existence. The inevitable fear, mortality, and the ultimate unknown. At the root of many of our fears lies the ultimate unknown, death. The fear of mortality is perhaps the most universal and profound fear that humans experience. It touches on the very essence of what it means to be alive, to be aware of our own existence, and to know that one day it will come to an end. This fear of death shapes much of our behavior, even in ways we may not always recognize. We seek to avoid danger, prolong our lives, and find meaning in a world where death is inevitable. For some, the fear of death leads to a search for immortality, whether through religion, legacy, or technological advancements. For others, it inspires a deeper appreciation of life's fleeting moments. Yet, while death is the ultimate fear, it also serves as the ultimate teacher. It reminds us that life is fragile, that our time here is limited, and that we must make the most of the moments we have. In this way, the fear of death can lead not to paralysis, but to action. It can motivate us to live fully, to pursue our passions, and to connect with those we love. The dual nature of fear, a curse and a gift. As we draw toward the end of this exploration, it becomes clear that fear is both a curse and a gift. On one hand, it can paralyze us, keeping us from taking risks or moving forward. On the other, it protects us, teaches us, and motivates us to live with greater awareness and intention. To feel fear is to be human. It is an emotion that connects us to our ancestors, to our fellow beings, and to the great unknown forces that shape our lives. But it is also an emotion that challenges us to grow, to face what frightens us, and to understand the deeper truths that lie behind our anxieties. So the next time you feel fear, whether in the face of danger, uncertainty, or loss, remember that this emotion is not your enemy. It is a companion on the journey of life, urging you to move forward, to be brave, and to embrace the full spectrum of what it means to be alive.